Science knows everything. Or does it? Is it true that science can explain all the questions we ask? Unfortunately, no. There are many things that it can't explain. Will the situation change in the future? Who knows? But I, Mr. Banana, want to get answers right now. Maybe you can give them while science can't. Why we sleep. As far as we know, virtually every creature on Earth enjoys a good night's rest as much as people do. So obviously, sleep must serve a key purpose for all living things, right? Well, it turns out science doesn't have a clue. What we have is a handful of proposed explanations for sleep that not many scientists can agree on. There's the theory that it's helping the brain clean house after a long day of learning, or maybe instead of ditching the stuff that's not necessary, the brain might be reinforcing the stuff you do need. Scientists have seen that when rats were asleep, the same neurons fired as when they had run mazes earlier that day. But there's a problem with both of these theories. Plants and microorganisms have dormant states that are very similar to sleep. Then there's the fact that scientists have found certain humans who can go without sleep with no ill effects. In fact, all of these theories kinda went out the window when researchers discovered a gene mutation that allows people to sleep 2 to 4 hours a night without any adverse effects at all. How many planets are in our solar system? Since Pluto was surprisingly kicked out of the solar system treehouse, we've known that the membership of the Planets Club is subject to change at science's whim. What you may not have realized is that the current inventory of 8 planets and 1 sun is pretty much just science's best guess for the time being. The vast majority of our solar system is still uncharted and unknown. The area between Mercury and the Sun is too bright to see, and the area beyond Uranus is too dark. Scientists are still finding new objects in the asteroid belt by hundreds of thousands. Oh yeah, and some of the astronomers think there might be a second sun. Seriously. How many species of animal exist? In the 21st century, nobody is exploring new lands and finding exotic new creatures like the platypus for the rest of the world to call bullshit on. So surely, having stomped across every nook and cranny of this blue earth, we should by now have some kind of ballpark figure about how many species we have left to kill, right? Actually, not even close. When you ask taxonomists, they'll tell you they haven't even scratched the surface in their attempts to find all the creatures that live on the planet. However, despite working on this mission for almost 250 years, along with discovering over 15,000 new living beings each year, taxonomists don't even have the faintest idea how many species live on Earth. There are a few good reasons why the birds, bees, and bacteria remain woefully uncounted. First off, the research on species takes place mostly in the northern hemisphere. It remains more technologically advanced than the southern, so it's very unlikely that places like Australia have yet to show us the complete horror of their fauna. But the biggest reason is that 99% of all living space is under the ocean, and humans have explored less than 10% of it. Experts say we have better maps of the surface of Mars than of our own oceans. We discover new and horrible types of life there all the time. How can we eliminate cancer? The myriad variables and unique genetic makeup of humans make some scientists doubt that we'll ever find a cure for every type of cancer. There are just too many environmental assaults and minute bodily malfunctions for any one magic bullet to attack. The good news is that our perspective and treatment for cancers is evolving. Each year we understand new aspects of the disease. Therapies keep improving, lessening suffering and adding quality of life. So, although we may never fully defeat cancer, we'll keep beating it back, making our lives better and the diagnosis less terrifying. Are we alone in the universe? Some may think that we're the only intelligent life forms in the universe. If that's the case, the universe is unimaginably lonely. Other researchers say there's almost no way that Earth is the only headquarters for life. There could be as many as 40 billion habitable planets just in our galaxy. That's an awful lot of potential for alien life. Even to modern human science, the simplest of our planet's life forms are still an extremely complex stew of chemical reactions and cells. We don't really understand how they emerge, evolve, and survive in an incredibly diverse range of environmental conditions. That makes finding, identifying, and communicating with alien beings much more complicated. Where does consciousness come from? We humans have an awareness of our surroundings and also of ourselves. Our minds teem with inner conversations and questions about who we are and our purpose in the world. Our brains, of course, are the central computers of our bodies, controlling biological functions and helping us think our way through all of life's loops and hurdles. But the brain is not the mind. Electrical activity doesn't explain how a physical substance can create a non-physical condition like consciousness. Scientists try to connect that with biological origins. They see consciousness as a collection of biological processes that build toward more complicated thinking that eventually culminates in self-awareness. Is reality real? Human reality is a slippery concept. Anyone who wakes up from a vivid nightmare knows what it's like to feel stuck somewhere between a memory and a dream. Perhaps the things and people in our lives are merely illusions. How do we know that any of these objects and creatures actually exist? Scientists and physicists aren't sure we'll ever understand the nature of reality. The deeper we delve into physics, the stranger the mechanics of our universe become. We keep discovering new particles and fundamental forces from molecules to atoms that drive our bodies and our world. It's entirely possible that the universe could be made up of dozens or thousands of dimensions that we'll never experience in any direct way. It's unlikely that the scientific rabbit hole we've burrowed will ever end. No matter how smart our collective species becomes, reality will always be an abstraction we can never quite pin down. How did life begin? How in the world did life begin in the first place? How did a mass of cells shift from an inert collection of organic molecules into a wiggling and sometimes even intelligent being? The short answer is, we don't know exactly how life originated. There's the off chance that 4 billion years ago aliens dropped off a few microbes and let them run wild. Many scientists think that life is a natural progression for planets that feature the necessary ingredients for biology, such as carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and other fundamental building blocks. With the right spark, these cornerstones slowly develop to the cell walls and DNA that are suited to reproducible life. Researchers are continually running experiments like this in laboratories, hoping to zoom in on the formula for making life. But it's still a mystery how those bits of non-living parts assembled themselves into actually living creatures. It could be that we are as yet still ignorant to the characteristics that truly define life. Or maybe we're blind to the principles of physics that really make life tick. No matter the case, the search for life's origins will undoubtedly continue for a long while. It is just a small piece of a long list with questions to scientists. How can we be sure that one day they will definitely find the answers? And while they are searching for them, we will keep making fantastic movies to suggest what is real. Tell me what you think about all this stuff in the comments. Don't forget to push the like button and subscribe to the channel Smart Banana. See you in the next video.